So just comments. and
Yeah, announcements. I wanted to announce this forum that, is gonna be on March 16th. At First Parish, off Monument Square, which is, Mike Barrett and Elizabeth Henry are gonna be speaking about the climate bill passed last summer and what opportunities we have, for action.
Very good.
Now, I don't know if you,
Before we
everybody,
go any further, we need to have somebody volunteer to take the minutes.
oh, yeah.
So-
I did them last week.
You
did a
did
great
it
job,
this
by the
time.
way.
So,
John.
Brad, you're very good at it. Brad died.
We have lots of talented,
I'll be happy to do it if, as long as I can get a copy of the recording after.
sure.
Yep.
Thank you, really
Thank
appreciate it.
you, thank you.
Okay,
Okay, so
back to mentioning this forum on March 16th. It's a Sunday, 12:30 to 2. Anybody's welcome. And so Mike Barrett, as you probably know, is our state senator that wrote the climate bill, or was the lead writer. And Elizabeth Henry lives in town, and she's the executive director of Environmental League of Massachusetts. Really should be very good, because that group works with the legislature to champion legislation and help. That's March 16th
At what time?
at 12:30. Right after lunch.
that's on my calendar.
March 16th.
Any other things to be announced?
I don't have any announcements.
What's Concord Can doing this month?
We have invited the candidates to the select board and the school committee to, come and have the Concord can ask questions.
Right,
So.
environmentally minded question.
Environmentally minded questions.
What will the
exactly.
date of that be?
That would be the 18th of March, I think.
18th of March, which would,
It's
is that
the
right? Yeah.
third Wednesday of the month. And it was-
okay, so the 18th of March, that's also in the morning, but that's
It's
more
in the
like
morning,
8.
food, lots of home baked stuff and cheese and grapes and good, and coffee served at 7:45.
Yeah.
And
so,
then the main event starts at 8 AM.
right, okay. Okay, thank you. Let's see, where's my notes here?
So,
So we have Brad taking the clerk, the notes.
yes, Brad,
January minutes which were excellent. I reviewed them and there were a couple like spelling things.
yes,
I think
there
there
was
was
some
a spelling
very-
error or something. It was not anything worth mentioning. I
Yeah.
can make it and submit it.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, I could tell you the typos that I found if you want to.
why don't you tell me and send them to me and I'll just make them and I'll put mine in yours. We'll submit it.
Okay, all right,
Cause we find that we got to the point where we hadn't posted the minutes for a lot of our meetings because of the back and forth and making changes and getting them submitted, whatever we can do to shorten it. I think is good.
right, but otherwise they were excellent, thank you.
I realize that when we talk in very quickly around each other. I don't know if you've noticed this. And so I'm like Melissa. I had to figure out who Melissa was. Oh, I knew some of the people, but Melissa's public health or
Yeah,
anyway. So we, as a group, all of us tend to talk and assume everybody else knows what we're doing, but so that listening to the thing and then also doing additional research is required in order to do the minutes.
okay, no
Because
more,
I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about, so let me figure out what's going on here.
no more acronyms.
Well, it's
Or-
little things, it's just, there's
Yeah.
assumptions made.
When
that
you
we know
talk
that
about
you-
somebody from the DPW or NRC and
Yeah.
people outside the committee that
Right,
aren't,
well, and
they're
if they've been
present.
around for a long time, then you might know them, but you might not know them otherwise. yeah.
Right.
I think the clerk is allowed to interrupt at any time.
But sometimes I don't even
And
know
say-
that I'm not understanding it, and then
Okay.
it's not till you go back and start doing the minutes going, oh,
Okay.
what was that again?
Mhm.
Just an observation.
So do I have a motion to, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll
Second.
second, well, Joe can
Jerry,
second.
Jerry's always the second.
Never the first, always the second.
Oh, and Catherine's here too. Hi, Catherine. So we're gonna have a vote on approving the minutes. And, all in favor of approving January minutes, raise your hand. We have, everybody's raising their hand. That's unanimous.
All right, unanimous.
Okay, the next meeting, it would be scheduled for March 24th. These Monday meetings kind of work for us, but they're also like right when select board meetings happen, and that will certainly be right on a select board meeting. We should find an excuse to change that at some point.
Should we go
March
to
24th,
Do you want
$31st
to change it
instead?
next month or do you want to stick with
I
it?
don't know.
31st would be also
I mean,
Monday.
Well, I thought we wanted Monday, just not that particular Monday.
Well, you can't have a Monday and have it, because the select board always goes every other Monday, no
Oh,
matter
okay.
what, so
Then you're right.
they're gonna hit half of any Monday you choose. I think. Even more than half. Is everybody still happy with Monday? Or does everybody prefer, everybody just as happy with another day?
Mondays are fine, I could do other days. I don't have any regular evening meetings, I don't think.
I'm on a permanent vacation. I can do any day you want.
Okay. I guess that we should, let's just do it, we'll go for March 24th, we have it on the calendar, you probably already have it scheduled, rooms. Is the rooms already reserved for these Monday meetings?
Yeah, I haven't reserved that for a little while, but I can always, I mean, if you guys want to change the date or day, I can always
Well,
see what I can do to reset it.
One of the challenges with changing the day is that some groups have set up regular
Yeah.
meetings
Mhm.
in using this room or other rooms. So we'll run into that scheduling
yeah,
challenge. If we stick with Mondays, based on our recent history, this room, it seems like it's available and we could just book it in advance.
right. Cause nobody have meetings on Mondays.
Except us.
And the select board.
So I don't really care which night it is, but
You
it
know,
occurred to me Monday, this might. be
Paul
an
and
advantage.
Cheryl, are you better with Monday than other
I
days?
don't, Wednesdays I hate, but other than that, I don't care.
Wednesdays you hate,
Monday seems, yeah, it's okay.
Mondays, okay, but
I teach Tuesday, Thursdays, but
yeah,
I'll figure it out.
Mondays are okay. My concern is not having the select board member, having that be a conflict. My understanding is that she is sort of a liaison, right? And so not having that
Yeah.
connection and connective tissue to the select board.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah, that to me seems to be problematic, but being new to the committee still, I'm not sure, what other committees are doing and how much they work around that, or that's a concern.
What would people think about Tuesday,
Does that work for you,
Well,
Paul?
it's
the day
suggested,
after
You-
Monday?
Yeah, Tuesday's fine, yeah,
Tuesday's fine with everybody in the room, including Catherine?
yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
I say we go
That's-
for Tuesday.
Yeah, I may have to be a few minutes late occasionally, depending on it. I have a 7 o'clock Tuesday, depending on what my husband's schedule is in terms of driving to kid activity on a Tuesday
Yeah,
night. But that's so, hit or miss that I don't schedule around that.
right.
A Tuesday should work.
Okay,
So we're talking about the fourth Tuesday of the month?
yeah, are we doing the fourth Monday now?
Or
I
is
think
that
then we do the
Yeah, I
fourth
think it-
Tuesday and we call it a
I
day.
think it is the fourth.
Yeah,
We start
Okay.
next month.
let's do fourth Tuesday, the 25th,
March-
next, 25th. Okay,
So I'll look into room availability.
Yeah,
Hopefully-
sure.
Hopefully we can,
we can't get
See where
this,
we are.
there's stuff at Harvey Wheeler, there's upstairs, there's all kinds of places,
Should,
to do.
should we ensure that Wendy has Tuesday nights free before we memorialize this?
No,
Okay,
she's, we do the best we can. Okay, I think that's a good suggestion. Email Wendy.
Okay, so
Um,
chair updates, recruiting new members. I must admit, I have not identified anybody.
I'm gonna make a radical proposal. Now, at the end of this term, three of you are, according to the website, and I don't think the website is necessarily correct. Jerry, Cheryl, and Janet are, retiring this spring, according to the website. You don't have to retire. We don't necessarily want you to retire, but you get to, and,
It's a term limit thing for me.
they can extend, there's nobody retiring in 26, when except, I think I'm gonna retire in 26 maybe.
Well,
But-
I do plan to retire.
Right, I know about Janet. I just wanted to, get your sense,
Half and half?
half and half, yeah, okay. We have tried to make the green home tours as fun as possible. What are you thinking?
I haven't thought about it because I thought I was
Okay.
term limited.
The term limits are very soft. That is, and so no, there's no pressure. I just want to let you know that the term limits are like some sort of official thing, but then if the committee needs somebody, they can. the
Okay,
term
they've
limits
told you
are-
that, I'll consider it, but I've been previously told 6
Yeah.
years, you're gone.
That was on CSEC.
and this is not CSEC.
No, I
this
know
is a
that, but-
Different committee.
But when this was formed, I was told it carried over to this.
Oh,
Okay,
it did?
so. The long short of it is that, we're gonna be way short of members. If a couple more people leave, and I'm proposing to. Take the number of members of the committee from 9 to 7. Still, we need to add a couple of members. Or at least one new member. But I actually think it would be a better, at least as good a committee. In terms of managing the committee, keeping people busy. If more people want to be involved, even if you get off the committee and you still want to hang out with us and get involved in things. You can sit at the table, et cetera. So we should try to get, continue to get people to volunteer as committee members or not. But what does anybody think about 7 versus 9? Is it just, we don't have enough people to save the world at 7? But, 9 will do it.
Since when have we had 9?
Well, we had 9 most of this year until Gavin left and then Mike McDonald has kind of pulled off. And it was 11 last year. But we had trouble making quorum, and really what I'm trying, one thing is 4 versus 5 for a quorum is better. And, I think it's more manageable because the big committee, it's hard to talk to everybody between meetings, at least once and never get around to it. Arranging with people's schedules and stuff like that, I think 7 is better. What, anybody, think 9 is better?
I'm staying neutral because if I leave the committee, I don't have a say.
Okay. Then, I don't think we have to make a vote on that, right?
It's actually not our decision.
Yeah, we're gonna
It's the charter.
recommend to Wendy
Right,
to change the charter to say
right.
7 rather than 9.
Is anybody going to propose that as a motion?
Do we need?
I mean, I'll propose it as a motion. I don't know if we need to vote on it, but if you wanna. I don't think we need to vote on
I don't know, I think you should vote because
it. Okay,
Second the motion.
okay, we got it. All in favor of 7?
I'm abstaining.
Catherine, are you in favor of
Yeah,
7? Are you in favor of that?
Yes,
Is anybody like other numbers? 6.5, 49.
If you want, if you need my vote, I can vote.
Okay, good. I think we
I
have
think you
a,
have enough.
good.
May I suggest that while both Betsy and Linda are on this call,
Oh,
they
yeah,
might think about some of their members while we are struggling to find new
Yes.
people.
that's a good point. Anybody who's, interested in hanging out with us and working on the committee stuff, this is gonna be the place to be. And we would welcome your input.
There's two
Both of
others
you.
out front.
All you gotta do is file a green card. And then, and actually you
Track
file a green
closes.
card and you tell us that you filed a green card. And then, we would find out about it.
And if they happen to have somebody in mind who would be good for this committee, what is the best way for them to get that person in touch with you?
I would say email. And that could be either to me or to Eric. I'm Brad HN at mindspring.com. I think people can find that address. Or they can contact any committee member is fine. Okay, Concord 250, we've been asked, I don't think we need to participate in any sense as a committee, but that's coming up in April. I think of us as the Concord 500 committee. And you don't have to be too involved with the 250. But it's gonna be an exciting event, lots and lots of people coming to town. There are a lot of opportunities to volunteer for different things, and you've probably seen it in email and stuff like that. And let's see, we talked about, there's been some discussion of a joint meeting with the Transportation Advisory Committee. Because we're gonna be talking about transportation later in this meeting. And Mark, who is the chair, who's sitting over there, he could be sitting at this table, but he's over there. He invited us to come to the next TAC meeting. And suggested that we could, most of the focus could be on public transportation, climate related things, but now if we have I think we could just show up and I don't think we have to declare it as a joint meeting, but if everybody wanted to go, if they have their meetings in the morning.
Yeah, the next meeting is 9:30 on the 13th of March,
On the 13th of
and
March.
it's
Okay,
either here or upstairs,
Yeah,
usually here. And I would say, there's no harm in announcing it as a.
and you meet in this
as-
building and
as your-
upstairs.
Yes,
no harm in what?
no harm in announcing it also posting it also as a CAC meeting in case you have a quorum of members present. In which case, if you've announced it as a meeting, you can all participate, otherwise you'd have to kind of just listen. And I would like you guys to be able to participate.
Okay,
So do we have to have a quorum of
well,
climate action people as well as?
No,
Yes,
if
you
you
can.
don't have a quorum, you're just members of the public,
right.
not a committee
Right,
at the meeting, which is great anyway.
Now, at least a couple of us have day jobs that probably don't get you there at 9:30. Although, you do it online as well as,
Always hybrid.
yeah,
It's always
hybrid.
online as well.
How many people would want to go to the March 13th meeting?
I won't be here.
Okay,
So I won't be able to.
so I don't think we have a quorum. Even if, so we'll probably not be a quorum. And show up and, participate to the extent you allow it.
Okay, that's fine with me.
That is, we're not very strict on this committee in terms of public participation. We don't make people wait until the very end. But you have to raise your hand. And be relevant. And not be a pest. Okay, so March
That was
13th. So
right.
you were saying there was some uncertainty on the date before, but have you settled on that?
I think it's gonna be March 13th.
Okay.
With a slight possibility of pushing it out a week, but it would be same time on the next Thursday. But I think March 13th is what we have now.
Yeah.
scheduled.
Okay, let's go to the Sustainability Director's Report, which I printed but haven't read.
Sure.
There's a lot in it.
I know there was on the agenda, there were a couple things you wanted to touch base on, I think.
Yeah.
The municipal decarbonization roadmap project, so just a reminder that that is an effort that is currently underway for us to develop a decarbonization roadmap through, with the Green Communities Program so that we can apply for climate leaders certification with the Green Communities Program. We are in a small cohort of a few other towns that have gotten technical assistance to develop this roadmap. So we had an initial meeting with the consultant. They now have a spreadsheet in hand and I'm working to populate that spreadsheet to provide as much information as possible about energy use related to our municipal buildings and our fleet. So the building information has a number of fields that I can't directly populate, which I'm working hard to try to coordinate with facilities to get me a bunch of that information. Things about the history of the building, when certain systems were put in place, things like that, I don't know. So right now, the status of that is working on populating that spreadsheet and getting that to the consultants, and then they take that spreadsheet, do a little back and forth with us, and then use that spreadsheet as the basis to develop this decarbonization roadmap.
So the working with the consultant is together with the other communities or is it individual?
Well, it's both. I mean, we can reach out to the consultant if we have questions, about data that they're looking for, but we also meet, I think it's every 2 weeks, we meet with the consultants as a group, I mean, just to sort of, check in with everybody and answer questions as a group and give guidance and things like that. So that's underway, I'm working on pulling some, what data I can, out of MEI, which is the Green Communities Reporting System. And then we'll be relying on facilities to populate a bunch of the other columns, for each of the buildings. It's fairly high level. It's not a really deep dive into the specifics of the building systems, but they are asking for energy consumption and then some information about the systems, things like, is there solar on there? When was the roof last replaced? Things like that. So they're just trying to think ahead about sort of maybe the order of buildings and priority of buildings for.
So who does the roadmap? Who decides that we're going to do this building? And does the roadmap say ultimately between 2028 and 2030, we're going to be doing this building and these are the steps we're going to take? Is the consultant doing that work for us?
Yeah, the consultant is putting that together based on the data we're providing. I'm not entirely clear in the later steps where just yet, sort of how much input we'll have into that. I mean, I think there's going to be some back and forth. My only reference for that so far is that some of the communities that went through this process, 6 months ago or a little over 6 months ago in the first cohort, seemed to feel like some of the information they got back through this roadmap process didn't necessarily reflect what they felt their priorities were
Well,
based on the data they gave. So obviously there's,
it's really weird if a community doesn't have input onto the roadmap that they are expected to follow.
Yeah, so the only information that we've been asked for so far is this populating the spreadsheet with this data. I'm imagining that there's going to be some additional steps where, have conversations about what we think priorities are on this end. And like to think that information is get factored into it. I have a call, I think it's tomorrow with the group. So I'll hopefully find out a little bit more about the future steps, but they haven't gone into a whole lot of detail on that yet.
So
So
who hired the consultant?
DOER, Department of Energy Resources, so Green Communities Program,
And who's the consultant?
Power Options.
Power Options, right, okay.
Yeah, so they, I guess, went out you know, through a process and wound up with Power Options as their choice to do this.
And so if you're a green community, you get to participate in this.
If you are a green community, you need to apply to get this technical assistance. So there's they have limited capacity for how many communities they can offer this
Yeah.
assistance at any point in time. So I had applied saying we'd like this assistance.
Yeah.
You know, with the alternative being that, you know, this,
So then they'll
me and the
craft.
committee could probably do it, but if somebody else is willing to do it for free, then,
sure.
you know, let's let
So
them take a
they'll-
crack at it.
Provide a separate roadmap for us as well as the other communities that are participating. Each get
In this cohort, yes.
in this cohort.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
so each community submits their data, their spreadsheet, and then custom decarbonization roadmap
So
is created.
It's a DOER service to these.
Yeah, and this is, the creation of this roadmap is, like I said, it's one of, I think, 6 criteria that a municipality needs to do if they want to get the climate leaders certification for their
Right.
community. So it's sort of a new focus. So the initial Green Communities program was focused on energy efficiency. And this climate leaders is focused more on greenhouse gas reduction. And so they're kind of shifting the focus a little bit in this next iteration of communities within the Green Communities program. So so it's new. So I think there was about a dozen communities that applied for climate leader certification in the first round, which was within this past year, and they're still awaiting confirmation of their certification from Green Communities. So for us, this should be the only piece that we're missing to submit our application for certification. Because other things are, you know, having a climate action committee or
Right.
something similar to that, having a climate action plan, having a fleet electrification plan or policy in place. You know, so there's a few criteria, and this is one that a few communities already had a roadmap in place. But the majority of them don't specifically have a roadmap laid out.
Would there be a chance to, for one of us to join you in a meeting with Power Options?
Sure.
Or multiple of us?
Yeah.
I mean, Jerry, you might be interested in this.
Yeah.
Would.
Yeah,
certainly
I'll
like to know
ask
what's going
them.
on. Maybe you can set that up.
Yeah, I'll ask them about that tomorrow and see if that's a possibility, and I can check with a few of my colleagues too, to see if how it went in their communities, the ones who've already done it.
Yeah,
To see what involvement and engagement there was. So,
Has there been any concern about funds not being available? Even though this plan is in place?
for
Sure.
doing this effort, or for the Green Communities program at large?
All of it, any and all of it.
I haven't heard anything about any funds being jeopardized for green community. I mean, my understanding is that those all come through the state. I don't think they're tied to any federal funds, so I don't think that
Okay,
should
I wasn't
be
sure if they
a
were.
problem unless something happens at the state level.
I think the only thing that might be anticipatable is, you know, a lot of the state budget is fungible dollars. If we're losing state aid from the federal government that creates a budget crisis, then there may need to be belt tightening across a lot of things.
Well, New York just had $80 million taken from them, so I mean, that's certainly a possibility.
Yeah,
So
but
that's what I mean, if there's any concern just in general.
I mean, you're operating in FY 25. That money is all
Yeah.
already appropriated.
Yeah.
Been raised and appropriated, so that is safe. It would be if we go into FY 26 that there could potentially be an issue.
Yeah, and the exciting thing with getting the climate leaders certification is that it opens up additional resources for us as a community, including a higher level of potential funding that we can pursue through green communities. So upwards of $1 million per opportunity. I mean, so the opportunity, like the request for proposals or program opportunity, as they call it, might have like a 3-year term. So you might be eligible for $1 million over that 3-year term of that. So, but ultimately it's potentially more than we'd be eligible for right now, just as a sort of standard green community.
okay.
Yeah, so that's underway. the ESCO and the request for qualifications, so I've made some progress on that with drafting some language and outlining that. There's a few pieces that still need to be worked on. One is, again, pulling together building information. So you'll hear that some of these different efforts dovetail in certain ways.
Yeah,
So typically within an RFQ, you would include a list of all your municipal buildings and facilities that you would want to include in that contract. And typically you include everything because you can always take away, but you can't add once that process is done. And so some of that is you know, a spreadsheet again, but there's also you know, some narrative descriptions of the buildings and the systems in the buildings. So again, I'm sort of coordinating with facilities on some of that. And then there's just
are you waiting on them to provide it now?
yeah, I've been told that they have some administrative staff who's working on that. I forget what they were calling it, like building cards.
Wouldn't
or
Russ just
something
get
like
that for you? Why wouldn't he just,
Well, he's the one I'm talking to.
right,
Yeah, so,
this is his thing, right, the ESCO?
yeah, I mean, we're working on this together and so there's some of that building information that I need and some of that information I don't know is necessarily, well, especially for the roadmap, isn't necessarily at his fingertips with, you know, he's got to rely on some of his staff and there's been turnover with, you know, with, again, the building systems that are in place and, you know, like typically these descriptions include, you know, what the age of the building is and what systems are there now and
Okay.
what some of the priorities are. So there's some of that that needs to be done as well as the spreadsheet of all the buildings and some of the energy use for the past few years on each of those buildings, which again, I'm working on MEI to get that lined out. So this and the roadmap are sort of dovetailing in some ways. I did have a conversation with DOER, with the director of the program, about the fact that we're sort of doing this roadmap and also sort of pursuing this ESCO at the same time, and what does that mean? And just asking them for their input and whether they had any, you know, suggestions or considerations or concerns that we should be thinking about as we're going sort of through both these processes. And their response was, you know, think of the roadmap as fairly high level. And, you know, obviously something like an ESCO is going to be a lot more detailed and longer term. So they didn't seem to have any concerns about that. Because I also asked, so the roadmap for green communities is when you pursue funding through them, you know, that's something that'll be referenced as your roadmap. And, you know, or which if you're asking for a chunk of money for a building, they're going to say, well, where is that in your roadmap? Is that a priority? And so again, going back to what you were mentioning before about sort of making sure our priorities are reflected in that, and then assuming that also those same priorities would be reflected in, you know, through the ESCO process. So I'm, you know, I sent some information out that, pardon me, that included it just sort of part of the narrative section of the draft, which kind of describes, I mean, a lot of this is technical language in the RFQ and a lot of procurement language. You know, so I'll be happy to share the full thing, but a lot of that is just probably not of particular interest to this group, but I'd love to get any feedback on some of the information I sent to, you know, see whether you all feel like, you know, the language that's in there is sort of reflecting our interests. I mean,
You didn't already send something.
I sent,
Yeah, it was the second
Just
email.
before the meeting.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
just
I
before,
see.
there was just a section I decided to send, just in
Yeah,
case.
just
everybody
send the
wanted to
whole
look at it.
thing, at least post the whole thing, so that it's self-consistent,
Okay, yeah, and,
if you would.
sure, yeah, so that's, and then, you know, working with, you know, so I'd love to get some feedback from all of you if you have any about, you know, some of that language that's in there. I mean, ultimately, I'm viewing this as wanting to balance, you know, energy and cost savings, which is a big driving factor of doing something like this. But I also want to make sure that, you know, the climate action plan and our greenhouse goals and everything else are reflected in there as well, and that we don't get into, you know, having a push to say, well, you know, energy
Yeah,
savings
well-
at all costs and
We
that-
will read it with the climate action plan in
yes,
place.
thank you.
And,
Yeah,
that way, make sure, but so you're expecting to, submit the RFQ in which month of which year?
I'm expecting to submit that, next month as soon as possible. Some of this is gonna depend on
Sure.
what other information I get and how quickly. It needs to go to DOER first for their review before it gets posted publicly
Okay.
for the process. Just so they can look through and make sure, you know, everything is up to snuff.
So we couldn't give you feedback as a committee. We could give feedback as individuals. Unless it was after the next meeting.
Yeah, yeah. So. I mean,
Originally, you were saying at beginning of February, that's why I was.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
yeah,
pressing you a little bit.
yeah, so no, I would say. Yeah, as of now, I would say to be safe, I would certainly take your individual comments with the hope that. You know, we wouldn't still be in the same exact spot or talking about this at this level, you know, at the next meeting.
Okay,
So I'll keep everybody posted. I'll share a more complete draft. Because that's this week I'll be focusing on that and the decarbonization roadmap and the data that I need for both of those. So that's moving along. The MVP expression of interest for the action grant. Some encouraging news there. We had a meeting with the MVP program about the expression of interest that was submitted back in November. They were very encouraging for us to submit a full proposal based on our concept that we put forward. We being myself with MAPC and ORS. And you might remember that the concept there is to do sort of a capacity building, partnership building, collaborations for a sort of a watershed association across the Suasco with the intent that that capacity will position us and other communities down the road to be even more competitive for MVP funding for projects that we can implement here. But they said they were very excited about the concept. They gave us some feedback and some comments. I'm trying to schedule a meeting hopefully on Wednesday with MAPC and ORS to continue our conversation about that based on the feedback. They just released the what do they call it? RFR, request for response. Things are all sound the same. RFQ, RFP, RFR.
now is Paul involved with?
So
this?
yeah, so Paul's was, so we had conversations early on and then the expression of interest went in and, I'd like to get some feedback, you know, from you and,
John,
John, anybody else, and, Courtney had also
Courtney.
reached out, just
Courtney.
recently to say, well, she had reached out, I had reached back to her, and then I didn't hear from her for a while, so, but then she just reached out again. So yeah, I'd love to get some, you know, any input from the committee, anybody who's interested in, having input into that. And I'd be happy to share, you know, any feedback they gave us. So the hope is, an intent is to submit a proposal for that. Proposals are due April 4th, so coming up. They originally made it sound like it might be later than that, but
So that's gonna be a proposal that you're writing together with several towns.
so I'm writing with MAPC and ORS, and then
okay.
we're also hoping to have, you know, as many you know, other partners and supporting letters.
So
and
who's the
communities.
lead?
Right now, I think they're assuming we're the lead.
Okay, so we're the lead, you are the lead.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we'd, get whatever support from us, from expertise.
Yeah,
That you
yeah,
can,
absolutely.
but, also pass it, send it out to the committee when it's a draft, that we could read.
Yeah, I will. So I had, I wanted to hear what it was just, I think, not last week, but the week before that we, got the feedback from them on the expression of interest. So, and had too much to say about it yet, because I wasn't quite sure what they were going to say or how encouraging they were going to be. But, yeah, I'll be happy to share any information if anybody wants to, be involved. And Paul certainly would love to get your input on that.
For the benefit of the minutes, could you please identify who Courtney is?
Oh, sorry, Courtney Eaton, who is a
Former member.
former member of the
Really?
Climate Action Committee, and had been involved with Paul and I in some previous discussions since I got here about wanting to pursue some MVP funding, for climate resilience for the town, so, thank you.
And Paul is Bolduc. Oh, you knew that?
John,
John Bolduc.
John, no, Paul, that's John Bolduc.
Is also a
Right.
former.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sorry, why did I get that? screwed up? Okay, good. Any further questions? Let's go to the climate action resilience plan. And was there any further work done after the January meeting? Brad sent me his, he had a nice write-up on that, the landscaping stuff that he and Janet did. Did you and Paul have anything written up that we can?
I
at
do
least
have
put
something,
somewhere?
I should have sent it to you.
Okay,
I will get it to you
okay.
soon.
We should just at least put it somewhere and see what else we need, but I haven't had, much time to work on this except today. Besides taking a week off, I just gotten overwhelmed with the nonprofit stuff, so looking at climate action plan and thinking further about this, I haven't made any progress. But we talked about switching to the transportation section. And I wonder if we should, has anybody been looking at that this month? Good for you.
Read the stuff in the report. I haven't been
Yeah.
doing any research.
Right. It's another, so I think we should divide it up again and, work in pairs to try to, well, that's one option. With the four main actions and just try to do some research as to what's been done. I think there's actions that CMLP has been involved in involving EVs where lots has been done, and then there's other actions where not much has happened, I think.
Would it make sense to actually meet with the TAC before we dive deeply into the transportation section?
Well, I think we should inform ourselves into what was in there first.
Well,
Yeah,
yes, of course.
okay, no, I think you're right. So there's,
Can we leverage the TAC meeting, after we assign different sections of the transportation area with our group, assuming we're doing the same methodology as last time? Can we leverage that meeting as part of our, fact finding and research mission? Or, I mean, we
Yeah,
can't take
but I
too
don't-
much time from the agenda, but I mean, can we at least come in with a sort of an organized way of getting that information and making the committee aware of the type of information we're looking for?
I don't think we're gonna get much
From that
directly
committee,
from the meeting.
yeah.
That is, except for what we're talking about, what we're focusing on, if we're focusing on the mass transit. Ideally, maybe we figure out what experts wants to help us with the public transportation action as opposed to the EV action, as opposed to the school and municipal bus fleet action, and they're all very different. And biking and walking paths.
Well, I could certainly get involved with some of that.
Yeah. Now,
This is the mobility piece.
yes. So, like the other section, I only made a couple copies of this, but there's each one of these has several pieces to it. And some of them are there's a time frame. We should, according to this plan, we should have had full mass transit, all options by 2022. But the pandemic got in the way. But, and I actually think about half the, yeah, I don't know. I'm doing too much talking.
It's called facilitating.
Well, my style of facilitation isn't inviting for as much input.
Can I see one of those copies? Or copies?
Yeah, so they just made, two copies of a couple of the blueprints.
Brad, I just wanted to interject since Linda and Betsy are here and they've been working very diligently on transportation related research in Concord as part of an initiative with Mothers Out Front. Either at this meeting, share those results, or at our next meeting when we're tackling the transportation. I would love to, I don't know if they're available to do that, but suggest that they report out to this group on their transportation studies. And see how it might pertain to our transportation study for the climate action plan.
Now, who was that you were mentioning? I didn't hear the name.
Linda and Betsy, who are here currently
Okay,
on this call from Mothers
gotcha.
Up Front. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect, great. No, that would be good. Was that mostly, mostly on mass transit or on public transit, or more on buses and other things?
We were focused on active modes of transit, so that would be pedestrian, walking, bicycling, just getting people out of their cars.
Okay, great. Perfect. So that's the fourth
item.
the fourth main item on this, out of the plan. And, we want to ultimately, after understanding what's been done and what the challenges are, suggest revisions as to what's going to happen in the next 5 years and longer. Great. Where do we go with this?
Is it our objective to divvy these up tonight for us to research for some
Well,
date certain? Or do we, as suggested, want to kind of pump that to after the TAC meeting?
I think it'd be reasonable to say, for people to say if there's an action they're particularly willing to do some legwork and think about. What do you think, Janet? Worth?
What do I think? I think somebody needs to go through it, think about it, and maybe find some data of what has been achieved. I'm not sure I'm looking at the same page as you.
For some of these things, the first person I would call is Mark and the TAC and ask them, who's done this? Is this,
Yeah.
is there a write-up or something like that? But
it looks different from.
Oh,
So I think, are you looking at the thing that says mobility at the top?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
On the,
this is, if you go down to page, starting at page 52.
52, okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's where the detailed blueprint is for each of those 4 actions.
And these do correspond to that. These are just a bullet point. Each one is just a bullet point in what you're looking at.
Right, I should have signed into the Zoom and shared my screen. In fact, I want to do that.
I can probably do that if you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to sign in a little bit later.
I have a quick question. This is Betsy on via Zoom. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
So do you have a deadline for when you want to have this done by?
well, we're uncertain, we may have, a consultant working with us in the latter half of the year. If if that money's approved. I don't know if you haven't heard any more, any more sense of,
It's still in the request as
It's
far
in
as
the-
I know.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta get through town meeting, but.
Right. So, but what we want to do is just bring together as much resources as we can, as to what's been done and put our, do a good level of thinking about what makes most sense to include, in, the next plan, rather than have the consultant do it for us entirely. I think that makes for a better plan.
Yeah, so I think I was just curious if you're working on this with thinking about town meeting. Because in TAC we're talking about a warrant that we are wanting to submit. Or not we, the TAC members were wanting
Yeah.
to submit. So anyways, that's kind of what I was curious about. Is this something that you're wanting to clarify in advance of town meeting?
No, we're not working on any warrants. What is the TAC requesting funding or something, or what is?
I'm not sure exactly who.
Works.
Let Mark speak for
Yeah, hi Betsy, yeah, let me just clarify. So the Division of Public Works and the Public Works Commission have been working with town manager, finance director towards funding to invest in the roads and safety improvements. The roads have been underfunded for decades, and if we continue the way things are, the backlog of repairs is gonna go from 20 million to 40 million over the next 5-10 years.
Yeah,
And the condition is gonna get even worse in terms of potholes. The roads, all the roads in Concord serve not only cars, but except for Route 2, bicycles. The crosswalks and, pedestrian usage in areas where there's no sidewalks.
yeah,
So it's a major mobility thing to get that infrastructure back in shape. So the proposal is to go to tier 3 funding and ask town meeting to authorize bonding over 5 years for approximately $27.5 million for roads and safety improvements. And TAC is kind of backing up, of course, this recommendation
Yeah,
to
okay.
everybody at the town meeting, but it's Public Works that's kind of in the driver's seat along with the
Okay.
town manager.
good. And in fact, you had told me that the other day, but
Linda had her hand up, I think.
Linda, you have your hand up?
Yeah, yes, Linda Neiman, 59 Mallard Drive. 2 points. First, I'd be more than happy to come and talk at the next meeting and present our pedestrian and bike safety audit that we did. Obviously, we want to get people out of their cars. You can't just have everyone drive electric cars because that's not a solution. Certainly, people who have to driving electric is a good idea. And then in terms of the Public Works warrant article, I think there should be a lot more discussion around active modes of transit in town because, as we all know, sidewalks around town, intersections, just getting around town, not in a car is not easy. And it is not really prioritized. And it's really part of the climate action plan to have that
Yeah.
aspect. It's like it's on page 58 of this document. And so, I mean, I certainly want to support Public Works because they're devoting funds to it now and attention, but I don't think it goes far enough. And I think that people need to talk about it because it's really been neglected, as Mark said. Thank you.
Okay. Good. Yeah, we certainly would like to have you come next month. And talk about it. That would be great. I think. So let me share the, you can't have sharing.
I can
You do.
allow that.
Yeah.
1 second.
Do, do, do.
Okay, should be able to now.
A lot to do with.
Okay, yeah, so I could share this now, but I don't know what I'm sharing. I guess it's this screen there. And then I can bring up this climate action plan here. So here's the, the four main actions, which are, the public transportation and other low carbon, no carbon transportation options. Which has 6 sub, implementation steps. Accelerate option, EVs. Long-term plan to electrify school and municipal vehicle fleets and, improve available accessibility of connections between biking and walking paths and sidewalks. I mean, a lot of what we're talking about is in that first action. Maybe, do you now, Brad, since you suggested it, do you think that even that looking at this whole transportation section at once is too much, and maybe we should divide up and think about different parts of A and B or something?
I'm keen to set aggressive goals in reviewing all of this, because I think it's gonna take some time
Yeah,
on the back end then to compile suggestions on what to do in the next plan. So
Right.
I think it is achievable while we still have 9 members and not 7.
we only have 7 now.
On paper, we have 9. To do this, and you know, if we're thinking that maybe it's not achievable to do a review as was done on
Natural resources.
natural resources and it you know, in a month, then maybe in 2 months, but to divide
Right.
that work now, I'd be keen to set it as a month, because again, as I said 3 months ago, if we give everybody 2 months, nobody's gonna touch it for a month. So
Right,
I think we should divvy it up and be trying to report out on the whole thing for
yeah,
next meeting. We've got a whole extra day because we're gonna meet on Tuesday instead of Monday.
right. Yeah, I'm certain, that's aggressive and, it may end up being 2 months.
So be it.
We got green home tours happening and we have some other stuff that is, but, are you interested in taking on that the first item?
I had my eye on vehicles, frankly, but I'll go
Okay.
wherever I'm told to go.
Brad, can you make that bigger?
Make that bigger? Okay, yeah, I can.
Possible.
How do you do that? I guess I hit, plus, oh, minus. Is that a little bit bigger? Or maybe it's,
That's a little bigger.
yeah, I think that's as big as it gets. So, okay, so you were interested in vehicles.
I was, but if nobody wants to take on the first one, I will take on the first one.
And Janet's also interested in vehicles, but Janet's. interested in everything.
I'm interested in, you know, pedestrians, bicycling, you know,
Oh,
the
okay,
non,
okay.
the non
Um,
four-wheeled vehicles. How do I put
Okay.
it?
Which it sounds like Betsy's team, they've already
Yeah,
done a fair bit of
Betsy's-
stuff on that.
Well,
mean,
I
that's what
know,
they
I mean,
were
I can,
focusing with
I can
farmers.
consult Linda and
Yeah.
Betsy
Yeah,
to what they've already
yeah, why don't you, connect with them and,
shown.
figure out what they know and you know, try to bring that together. Jerry, any interest or,
Well, the one I'm most interested in is the one Janet is interested in. So if we're doubling up,
yeah,
I'd like to work with on it, but if we're not doubling up. I'll also go where told.
I'd love to have you with me.
yeah,
But that's my main interest. The secondary interest would be the third one, the electrification of school and municipal vehicle fleets.
why don't you see where we are with the school? I mean, we know, Eric knows where we are with municipal fleets and school buses, but looking at the plan and thinking about what makes sense, I haven't been in that section. Maybe I shouldn't have hit that. Paul, do you have any particular?
Can't read it.
Oh, you can't read it.
Maybe,
Maybe it's this. Oh, look, I can do that. So the first one is public
Yeah.
transportation, and I can blow into these blueprints. Electric vehicles, electrifying school and municipal vehicle fleets, and improving accessibility, accessibility of connections. And maybe we're missing something here. Maybe
which were the open ones again?
these are the plan, you know, this is in
Yeah.
the 2020 plan.
Right.
And I'm actually interested in that first one, but I'm not.
I'm interested in that also.
It's the biggest one. Okay.
Yeah, I
Um,
would say I'm interested in that one as well, Brad. And I do wonder, do any of these dovetail or connect at all with any of the MBTA work and sort of regional rail? I mean, does that any of that fit into here? I mean, that's not something that's sort of within our purview or control, but certainly as there's more money invested at the state level and the regional kind of boosting regional rail in the future, it's something that we should probably have on
Yeah.
our radar. And as we build up more housing to support, you know, smart growth, it feels like some of these things are all kind of connected and should be thought of as we think about our next plan.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that first one is you know, involves, working with MBTA to try to advocate for increased service and stuff like that. Why don't we, take a look at that together, before the 13th? And then come to the TAC meeting and, yeah, I don't think we're gonna have this figured out in a month necessarily, but we can try. So where are we at? We're early. I might have to go the whole time tonight.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm on Zoom. I'm a little bit sick and I'm jet lagged from being in Europe and just getting back. So apologies for not
Okay.
being able to be there tonight. Are we still using the spreadsheet that you created to assign folks to various things and
Yeah,
report?
we have the spreadsheet here. And here's the page. Now, nobody will be able to see that. But you can almost see it. So I'm gonna put a couple names down here. Okay. Oh no, this is on the these are the 6 steps, right? The 6 implementation steps.
for number one.
EV, so Brad wanted the EVs, right? Brad and Janet.
Janet wants the last one.
EVs,
Oh, Janet wanted the last one. So
I mean-
Brad D.
I've been on the EV working group, so. I could-
I'm gonna put Janet there too.
Okay,
Yeah, because you've been on the EV working group for so long. And, where do we have, God, this is, going all over the place. Why am I looking up there? So, I'll put Jerry here. Even though Jerry can work on whatever he wants. And this was, Janet. And,
That was the
Sure.
one that I wanted.
That's my very one.
Janet and Jerry. And let's just do what we can, and I'll put as taking a look at the at the public options. How's that sound? And Paul,
Is Jerry working alone?
I think I'm working with Janet.
Working.
Okay, I don't care, just give me something, I don't care, I mean, I don't know tons about transportation,
So
so
what's,
it's fine.
I was gonna say, I've been working with Jan, I should get a lot of information from her on the EVs, but I don't care either.
okay,
I've been back and forth a lot.
so should I put you in with the EVs?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Some of these EV
Blah, blah,
vehicles
blah,
are
blah.
outrageously
Why am I
huge.
having a brain freeze right now?
Can't possibly be.
What town agency is supposed to be
The
implementing?
benefit of the big
What?
ones is
What
they
town,
usually have bigger
um,
batteries.
Group is
Oh,
supposed to be
yeah.
implementing
Well, I
these,
just,
what
a
town,
friend of
what
mine
town
just offered, I mean,
departments?
it looks like it's
So for
small.
the EVs, it's largely CMLP is the
Okay.
lead.
I'm pretty sure she's looking.
EV working group, which is
She has somebody else in her family
connected
that
in.
doesn't need it.
With the public transportation, it's Department of Planning and Land Management, CPW. And now the TAC, Transportation Advisory Committee. And then yeah, so where should I put Paul down? We can you want to connect up with Jerry on electrifying municipal fleets? That's really, I think that's
Well, it
really
could be alone, that's
Eric,
a difference.
Jerry, and this is really Eric. He knows all about this.
Yeah,
Right.
nothing, right? I did see.
He needs
state-
action items.
State trooper in a, like a.
I think you should join us on the
what's that?
mass
What do you call
transit.
it? The
This
ones
is a
that
big,
are,
Okay.
on the public transit.
they're not
Okay.
electric, they're.
It's
they-
very hard, right? Mainly
It
culturally
wasn't a
hard,
plug-in,
right?
it was just a hybrid, but
Yeah.
it was, right, because the police station wouldn't do any electric.
And
cars,
let's
I think
have
the
a,
state
let's
trooper
try to
had
have a
hybrid cars,
call
But I think.
sometime in the next 2 weeks
better than
before that,
right?
TAC meeting.
Okay,
We'll find a
maybe
time.
maybe next Monday, cause it's,
Monday?
I don't, I think so. I could do Monday, how about you?
Okay. I think, you mean like
A week from today?
a week from today? Catherine, can you meet a week from today?
I think I should be able to. Depends on
Yeah,
the
let's do that. Let's put that,
Today's it's March.
That would be
Yeah,
March
today-
first, I think.
that'll be March 1st.
Yeah. First.
Okay,
That doesn't sound right. It's not March 1st, it's March 3rd.
That's, yeah.
Hold on.
that-
March 1st
the
is Saturday,
28th
right?
is Friday, so. it
It's
has to
the
be
third,
the
yes.
Third.
Yeah. Monday, March 3rd.
What time?
What time works for you, Paul? He's easy.
So if
I would
meet
say
with you
10 in the
till-
morning.
Oh, no,
Maybe evenings.
during the
Yeah.
day is tough.
During the day is tough.
Not-
Okay, so you want to be in the evening.
Yeah, I'd rather like
I mean,
five,
I get,
six,
it doesn't have
five?
evenings, I get
how about 5 in the evening?
Since I
Is
may
that,
It's evening or
or
weekend.
is afternoon
Well,
work?
I was just saying, I mean, I can.
It's
you know,
tough,
on a-
it's tough
But
during the
certain days
day.
I get home by
Yeah.
4, so it could be.
So, like, end of the
you know, like
day,
4 to
or-
5 or something.
Okay.
I can do evening. I'm not.
Like,
sure
is 7 better than worse
when
than
we should
5?
meet.
Yeah.
I can come
6 is
to my
good.
place or-
6 is
It's, I was gonna say 7 would be better for me, just, next Monday, the CCHS Multicultural Fest. I don't know if I'm going or not, but I may.
Okay,
Okay,
7's fine
The
too.
once,
Yeah.
once a year thing, and
7
it's
PM,
5
that
to
sounds
7, so
good.
7 or 7:30 would be better, yeah.
Yeah, great. So. Not that we accomplished much, but we divvied that up, and now we have homework to do.
So if I could just
see.
request, like I sort of did before, I'd love to sit in, you know, on these meetings.
Yes.
So, and I'd also, I'm happy to help facilitate any of these meetings if it's helpful to reach out to some of my colleagues in different departments. If you think that's useful. So just let me know
Right,
if
yes,
I can be helpful, or, and I certainly, you know.
Maybe we could do a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, we
plan
need
to
your help.
sit-
Yeah, I think so.
Because
Right.
she's the-
I think the
she's
first meeting is like,
person we would be meeting
is
with, I
just
assume.
trying to get a
Right.
clue of what,
Yeah.
what we're talking
That's what you
about,
think
what's
of.
been
Sure.
done,
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about
Yeah, so I
what's
might be
big
able to
and what's
find
small.
something during the, like,
Um,
lunch break or something like that, we could do it.
To some extent, when I look at these, when I look at
Hopefully
all these different, things, I think, you know,
Wait.
amount of
yeah.
greenhouse gas for this
you
is
know,
tiny, and the
Oh,
amount
you
of
do?
greenhouse
Okay,
gas
you
for
don't.
this is
I didn't know
huge.
you were
and,
not available during
uh,
the day.
Well,
Not that that's the way we need to work, but,
But I can work something out.
Okay.
yeah, okay. So. Let's move on and get to, the green home tours and other stuff.
I'm looking forward to hearing about them.
I don't know if you wanna
Well, it went out
Stop.
today.
share.
Yeah, I
What?
was,
Stop sharing,
Surprised.
stop sharing.
You're surprised?
it's not good.
well, I didn't realize, I thought there was more, you and Dan had more work to do to get it going, but looks like you did it.
And Brad?
On the what? Oh, yeah,
The greenhouse tour thing went out. I was just saying it.
it
came
went out.
from,
yeah.
CMLP, yeah.
There's nothing like a deadline. And, we just used the artwork from last year. And so how many people received that in their email? Everybody got it.
Bigger, yeah.
You must have. And how many people saw? I also posted on the Cooler Concord website. How many people get emails from the coolerconcord.org website?
I do, but
You didn't see? Oh,
I did not see it, no.
it was there today,
I
but
get
maybe you,
emails, but
I
I
got an
didn't. I
email a
didn't
couple of
read
days
it.
ago and it wasn't there.
okay.
I actually looked for it and it wasn't there.
It's not entirely predictable.
I didn't delete it. It's still sitting there. Just-
Anyway, so let's,
So,
Cheryl, tell us what's gonna happen on the green home tours.
We have
What
4
are we
homes.
planning?
4 homes?
4 homes, they're all
Wow.
gonna be on the same day, Saturday, the 15th. They're going to be an hour and 15 minutes, they're gonna be, people will have two slots, presumably,
Yeah.
sign up for just 2. And they've extended them because they felt that they did not get enough time, the coaches last time, to talk with people, and so, but otherwise, it's gonna be pretty much the same
Yeah.
as last time.
So have you got enough people assigned to the houses?
But we don't have anybody from this organization yet signing
Right.
houses, but they're working on assigning coaches. And the electric car
So the date,
information guys, they're doing that, they're assigning them.
the date is Saturday, the 15th
Yes.
of March.
I have that. down.
And it's 1 to 4 in the afternoon.
Well, if you need some help, let me know.
Well, no, it's sort of
We should
like,
have- we have
we're
to-
letting you know now.
Yeah, we have to have
Uh,
some member from this team has to be at each of the houses.
So anybody
I-
who could spare a couple hours on Saturday, the 15th, it's really fun. Talking to people, making sure they sign the sign-up sheets, handing out stuff, making sure they don't steal things from the living room, et cetera.
And presenting our position, you know, why we're there and why they're doing it. The coaches have their presentation and it depends on the homeowners. How much they present and how they want to explain their position, how they made the decisions they made and how the coaching
Yeah.
went. And what the hurdles they might have, found themselves involved with. But they sort of share their experiences.
Right,
But we have to be there to sort of
yeah, just make sure.
facilitate.
Right. So
So we need, obviously we'll be at one of the homes, so then we need 3 more people,
So and what is the timing exactly?
1 to 4. So we have to get there a little bit before because we have to, but we have signs, I don't know where those signs
Yeah.
went. Do we still have those signs from last time or no?
well, I gave them back to Laura. We'll have to make some signs.
So we'll put some signs up, the people who sign up will have addresses for where they're supposed to be going,
Right.
so they'll know where to go.
So anybody can sign, actually, it would be good if you sign up now on the website. G8, it's called, so I shouldn't put it in the minutes, in the agenda. I guess we didn't decide it then. It's, bit.ly link, bit.ly GHT 2025.
Well, it's
Actually,
in
you'll
the
see
thing
it in
got
the
sent to
thing
the
you got in the email today.
email today.
Can
Um,
you repeat
so-
that bitly? Whatever.
Yeah,
If you go
it's
on
in
the
the
email
email
from
that you got
CMLP, it'll
already.
be in there.
Oh, okay,
Right, you
I
can
don't-
follow that, or
I'll
you can
find
use the
it.
QR code and sign up for a house.
Do we want us to
so
sign up for
isn't
the
it
houses
better
that
to
way?
assign us rather
I'd
than-
like people to do it and test it
Okay.
and send me an email if it doesn't work.
Gotcha, okay.
Cause
Okay.
I can't tell if people try and it fails or it's confusing or something.
Okay,
This is through Cooler Concord.
But you don't want all of us
So
signing
you
up
can
the
go
same house.
add it through the Cooler Concord website, or you can get Janicetti's email and do it that way. You can even do it on the phone,
I'm doing it on the phone right now.
yeah.
and there'll also be.
How
in
do we
diverse-
end up in different houses rather than all ending up in the same house?
Right, well, we're gonna reassign, we'll reassign you.
This is just testing.
So,
So, sorry, Brad, what is the ask? What is the ask for us to do?
well, I'd love it if people just try out the sign up form and make sure it works. I did it and Jan did it and Kim did it, but nobody else had done it, and I'm always worried that there's like a bug and it's not really working. I suppose now that the email's out, people are signing up, but I didn't see any yet.
Okay,
Which
so
makes
this,
me
this is just tested. This isn't for us to sign up as committee members to represent various houses and volunteer.
No,
No.
just to test it.
Just to test it and say, it's a Google form. And there's a script behind it where you answer the form and then it sends you an email telling you the addresses of the houses that you signed up for. It's really very sophisticated, script. And I think it works.
But the second thing we're asking people to do is we need 1 member of the CAC Climate Action Committee to be at each of the homes, at least 1 person. So
Yeah.
that they can show up early, make sure that I will volunteer to get food like last time, some snacks for people. So can put out snacks, make sure the homeowners are comfortable with what's going on, put up signs, make sure the coaches are there. Sort of just to manage the house. So you would be there from 1:15 till last person leaves at 4.
Yeah. And then last year we had a little party afterwards at one of the houses. We haven't figured that out, detail
That was
out yet.
nice.
Yeah. And you get to see some cool heat pumps and, induction
It was
stoves.
a fun time.
Yeah. I hope so. So we're gonna have an ad in the bridge. I didn't get an answer. Oh, you asked me whether the graphics were finalized on the ad. and it didn't
Yeah, I
answer
just
you.
want to make sure before I started, pushing it through all the town channels. I
Um,
didn't want to push it through and then.
The
realize,
only
like, oh,
thing
that
that
was
might be,
the next to
well,
last draft.
let me check, cause Jen asked me to add something. check. The one thing I worry about is whether, because I took the ad that, what's her name had made last year. And I cut and pasted, text to get the date right. And I want to make sure that the resolution came out and doesn't look like all grainy or something. I think it looks good enough. I'm just not very good at, otherwise I'd have to redo it in Canva, which I did. I'll check and I'll send you, final graphic. And I will send it to the bridge as well. And we need, the bridge, also needs an article. I think I wrote an article last year. If somebody wants to write an article, and so someone, you can take my old article and rewrite it. You done anything for the bridge?
I haven't.
You want to write something for the bridge?
I'd love to, because I have a conflict on the 15th.
Ah, okay,
That's how I can do my fair share.
cool. Send Brad a bridge article. We're gonna have we want the ad to show up 1 week, just over 1 week before. Because if it shows up on the Friday before, nobody will see it. And I think that there's enough time, and I think we want the article in the same one.
I think that's what happened last year.
Yeah,
Mostly
So you
because of
want it
So that's
timing.
coming up soon. That
That's
would be the
very soon.
7th.
Yeah,
that'll be the 7th.
the 7th.
So
which
what does that
means-
mean? That means
Which
we need
means
it
you need it in by Friday.
by this Friday.
Yes.
Right.
said you had
Yeah.
deadlines, you said deadlines.
So I'm gonna send you that tomorrow morning. Were we gonna get together and have coffee tomorrow?
I would love to.
Yeah, okay. And have coffee, so we didn't decide on a time for that, but
Linda has a hand up.
oh, Linda, sorry.
I'm so glad you're doing the green home tours again. My home was on the tour last year and I thought it was really great. I was just wondering if if you have like feedback from last year, like what were the most common questions people asked? I know for us in our home, the most common question was, what does your electricity bill look like? And the obvious one, do the mini splits keep your home warm when it's cold outside?
Yeah,
I'm just wondering if you had received any feedback or if you had sent out a survey or anything like that.
Well, CMLP had a number of suggestions that they forwarded to us, more about,
operational?
yeah, operational, yeah.
Right, but what Linda asked is a good question, and I, frankly, it was so long ago, I can't remember what the questions were. But,
But I mean, the coaches should be the ones that are, I mean, there will be a coach at each of the homes. They're going
Right.
to talk about that. I know that the homes I was at, the homeowners were asked those questions as well. And they addressed it, because I mean, that's who's gonna say, yes, my home is warm or not. The electric bill thing is changing, or that's
I
something,
think so,
I mean,
what-
that's that new. Right, aren't they changing the electric thing soon or whatever, so that
I
if you're
don't-
using more, it's not gonna be,
I guess we
penalized.
should, if we can remember some of the questions that were asked and we send them to the homeowners a week ahead, just saying, these are some of the questions that came up last year. They'd have a chance to think about it and not, yeah. Okay,
but it would be good to get something from, do you know where CMLP is with the new changing in the electricity? I know they're putting in the new monitors.
Yeah, I mean, they're intending to move to time of use rates, but they have to make sure all the smart meters are installed before they can
Right.
do that, and I think they're close, at least for residential, completing the installation, but I don't know if they're quite there yet.
It'd be good to get something from CMLP then.
Oh, right.
About what they're going to do about the fact that there are so many people with electric cars, vehicles and electric pumps, and how they're gonna deal with that. Maybe Jan has something, some little blurb that we can give out or something.
yeah, I think
mean,
that's
because
a really
people
good
do ask
idea.
About that.
ask,
I'm
I
happy
think,
to ask Shannon. I'm
a,
sending a lot of emails back and forth.
it would be good to get a really simple, like, what's happening with Concord electricity and the smart meters and the time of use rate.
Sharon Jones wants to know about it, so I know.
Yeah,
that's-
I mean, I think
she's really
everybody
big
wants
into
to know.
that.
And
I mean, there's, the differential rates, if you use a lot of electricity, the rate per kilowatt hour is higher, that's still not.
This is
the case.
changing,
They're changing it, that's
They're
for just
changing
that
it, but
reason.
right now it is higher, so.
right,
So that's what I mean, it'd be nice to get something from CMLP saying this
Yeah.
is our anticipation,
Okay,
so you can assure people that, yes, it hasn't quite been fixed yet, but
it will be.
this is the goal, yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. That's a good idea. So, Linda, if you can remember, any of the other questions, maybe we should just make a list of the questions that we remember were asked. And we can
remember
send
the
them to
question.
the
Yeah, I don't remember the questions. I mean, I just like was asking my husband. I just remember like the two most common ones that was from us, for us. But I
Yeah.
thought I filled out didn't we have a survey that we filled out afterwards? I could have sworn I filled out a survey.
I don't remember that.
Nope.
I remember a bunch of questions about cleaning of mini split heads and stuff like that. Maybe every place was different.
It was
Yeah,
sort of if you
people will
went to
ask
the
about-
after event thing, people were sort of brainstorming what went well and what did not go well.
Okay,
But I don't think there was a survey put out as far as I remember.
okay,
I would think that people would ask about maintenance.
There was a question or two about maintenance.
yeah.
So had it been limited to only Concord residents last year, or had it?
There were somewhat non-Concord
Okay.
residents.
There were
Yeah,
a
I just pulled up the form and it asks where you come, what town you live in.
Okay.
So I
Right.
guess,
and we're not, like, I shared it on coolerconcord.org, but I told it not to share it to any other communities. Because I don't want, I don't wanna ask for trouble. If we end up getting lots of people, too many people and they're all from another town, maybe we'll,
Yeah.
uninvite them.
Well, I'm just thinking, yeah, I mean, obviously, I would think the light plant for all their investment in this, like, has an interest
Yeah.
in, trying to have mostly Concord residents.
There will be.
Of course, yeah.
There will be, and, so, Linda, what did you think about the number of people that showed up at your house last year at one time?
It seemed like a good number. I don't remember. There was maybe like 15 people or more.
Yeah.
Your living room is pretty full.
Yeah, it was full.
I was there.
I thought it went well. I think for the people who are hosting, it might be good just to let them know what common questions people ask, maintenance, how much is your bill? Is it warm?
Yeah.
Some of them, like, I wish I would have spent a little more time, preparing for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that I could just like pull out one of my bills and say, this is what it looks like.
Well, it's almost more genuine to have to think on the spot, but yeah, you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes. What we're thinking to limit it to 20 people at a time. However, it's hard to predict because in order to get 20 people to show up, you have to kind of have registrations for more than 20 people. And it's hard to know. Last year, we cut off registrations at 30. And we typically got, like up to 20.
And it rained, so.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
It was raining.
Okay. So I think we'll be set. You gonna come? No? Jerry will be around?
I'm out of town.
Out of town. Okay, well, we have Janet, and is Catherine gonna come? We have 4 people.
Yeah, I would love to. And I'm not seeing any link for the form for sign up. And I searched for Concord and Green Home in my email. So am I missing something? Where was?
Okay, maybe it didn't go in your email.
In my email, it was green button. Not a
Green-
bit.ly link.
The email that I got from Janice said he has the link in it, because I just opened it.
Oh, so
Okay,
it was from Jan.
Concord
That's,
Light, an email from Concord Light.
I see. Got it.
okay. Now,
Will it
here's
be-
a,
Sorry,
wanna-
sorry. Besides the bridge, will it be advertised anywhere else? So Cooler Concord Bridge and then through CMLP directly? Those are the.
we're
channels.
gonna be reaching out to, organizations with newsletters, and we could actually do this.
It
Like,
will be in the
it'll be
Concord
in
Ken
Concord
newsletter.
Can newsletter.
I've talked to the library about it,
Oh, good.
and so they'll put it out in their newsletter.
Thank you. When did you do that?
At the last meeting of the library sustainability,
Okay, I'm gonna reach out to them again then, just so,
ahead.
yeah,
you know, I have an action to do it, so I will do it, but go ahead.
okay,
More's
well,
merit.
if
We
you
found
could,
last year that it was really the Concord Bridge and CMLP that's where
Right.
the numbers started going up, because all.
right,
There were a number of people who said they would include it and yada yada, and it wasn't until CMLP and the bridge came up with it that people started signing up.
right. It is good to have it in social media for the town. So if you can get that, going, that would be good.
Sure.
And,
Mothers Out Front, of course. If I'm
Yeah.
hoping.
Mothers Out Front has been added to it, yep, as one of the sponsors, yep.
do you guys have a newsletter going out? And why don't I ever get that newsletter? I've been trying
Yes.
to sign up for that for years.
I can sign you up, Brad. It's because we switched to a new database, like system last year, and it was a mess. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, I got dumped off of it and I was like, I think I should be getting these notices. But anyway, yeah, I can add you, Brad.
Oh, I totally forgot. Today was the first day of the Net Zero Ready Middle School. Nobody has a middle schooler here.
I do. Yeah, Linda does as well.
Linda does.
First
Okay, I wanna
day.
hear what happened? Was it? How was it?
Catherine, do you want to
I
go?
mean, I didn't, as I said, I just got back myself, so I have gotten very little feedback other than, it was a long day and it was somewhat uneventful, but no one got lost and it seems like people found their classes.
Yeah.
And it's very big. It's much bigger because I have a sixth grader, so she was coming from Peabody and the sixth grade only school. So going from only sixth graders to the whole kit and caboodle was a big deal.
Ah, fantastic. This should be a special day. So I wanted to talk for a minute about residential engagement through the Cooler Concord website. And I would love to get some action from the committee, from a subgroup or some volunteers. I want to share that what we've been doing. So we're to share that, and it's right here. So I assume people have been to this website before. This is I spend most of my time working on the nonprofit that produced the platform that this website was built with, called Mass Energize. And has everybody here been on this website? Have you've seen it? So we haven't really been maintaining it that much. The website has, let me move this thing out of the way, right? It doesn't show up on your screen. The website has a bunch of actions that residents can take, and we haven't been publicizing it, so we're not getting much traffic. the main thing we've been doing recently is publicizing events. And often it is sharing events from it could be other communities, or anybody can post an event. So sometimes we have events that the library posts, or Concord can posts, or something that's suitable for the site. All you have to do is click here and you can put the data in and post it. And it doesn't an event doesn't automatically go there. It actually comes to me and I have to look at it and say, oh yeah, that looks about right, and then hit approve. So I posted this ad for the Green Home Tours. This opens up the page, and generally, often we share the event with other communities, so that if someone in Acton wants to do what we're doing, they could come over, say, but not this particular one. And you can download events to your calendar and stuff like that. But the main purpose of this is that it also sends reminders to anybody who has a profile will get an email with this in it. And but if you haven't signed up for a profile, you don't get the email.
Well, I've signed up for it, but I didn't get an email, so.
You didn't get one. Okay. I'll have to look at why.
Yeah.
Do you get them?
I've signed up before.
Yeah. Do you never get an email that says, don't miss this event from,
Well, I do get some of those, actually, now I
Okay.
think about it.
so I think you're gonna get one.
I got it.
What?
I got it. I just opened it.
I didn't get that one.
Okay.
So that one just came today?
This came,
I got one with a
Wednesday.
whole long list of events in other communities,
Yeah,
but I didn't.
so
I
that
didn't-
one is going to you because you're an admin. And,
am,
and that allows you to share the event so that it goes to the Concord community as well. And I usually do that.
Okay,
Comes once a month, once a week. Most people don't get that email.
I did get it.
okay, that's interesting. I would have thought that would go to a lot of different people. But,
So Brett-
but this is, you've got to take it and put it in the Cool of Concord page. So if you want a Concord only. So, well,
Yeah. So,
you could, if, I mean, suppose I wanted to, put something in, it only goes to the Cool of Concord page and not the other communities.
yeah,
Is there, I mean, I don't remember, is there?
it
place
does,
where
it doesn't
says-
give you that option going through that form. It does when you go through the admin tool.
Okay, I don't think I figured out the admin tool.
Right. Well, it's just, it's a little more involved, and it's basically not that different. But, so my question, so a couple of things. One is, there's other things on this website, like testimonials page and stuff like that. Which doesn't have a lot of new testimonials. We have a fair number of testimonials. A few of them are getting shared from other communities nearby. We're not getting a lot of activity on this because we haven't been publicizing it. We have had in the past, and this goes back to like when Julie was on the committee years ago, we had a newsletter that went out to, 800 people. And publicizing activities and actions and stuff like that. But we haven't had the critical mass to do that in the last couple of years at least. Which bring so I would love to get some critical mass eventually and, do newsletters. In the meantime, we're redesigning this website, the platform. That's what I've been very busy doing, to use WordPress. Because this is a fully custom software tool that is killing us to maintain it and develop it. And that's going to allow us to have to do a lot more integrations with the newsletter, so that when we publicize events, it'll just create a newsletter for you and send it out much more, communicate with much more with a bigger audience. Now, I didn't get a chance, Brad, you actually looked at the videos from the meeting that we had.
I did.
And there were some ideas there were a couple ideas of kinds of campaigns that people had done. One was decarbonizers.
That
What
was,
did you think?
that was the one that we mentioned in last month's meeting, and so
Yeah.
that's what I was focused on.
Okay,
Um,
how'd that sound to you?
sounds great. I think that Concord would be a great place to do that model of action, and since it's sort of a one-shot deal, to do that, I think it has the opportunity to, if we bring in partners to help with publicity,
Yeah,
I think it has the opportunity to grab new people.
right.
So I think that would be a great thing for us to do.
I think bringing in the library to do publicity or something like that, or, great thing to do maybe in the fall or something. I'm trying to think about, a few months down the road.
Yeah, a few
Oh.
months down the road and just not when something else in this space is going on, right? We wanna be at a slow
Right,
climate news day.
right.
I think
So-
we're running out of time. And the Climate Action Festival is on the agenda.
Okay, you're right.
So-
Good.
I know you're,
Um,
I reached out to all the environmental organizations that I could think of. I heard back from Janice Etty saying she would get back to me, and she hasn't. I
Right,
heard back from Betsy, maybe Linda, from Mothers Out Front, saying Laura Davis made it seem like easy. It was really easy, and they weren't sure they were up to it. I'm thinking I'm gonna be away for at least 10 days, 2 weeks in April.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I can't take a lead on it, so maybe, I don't know, maybe we should skip it this year. It could be in June after the
right.
town meeting.
And
But
event,
there was, lack of,
yeah,
I don't know whether it's because, committees don't get back to you very fast or simply isn't any interest.
right. You saw that I reached out to the Musketequid Arts.
Yes, I
Other
did
people
see
that have
that,
been
yeah.
involved. I don't think we have the bandwidth to do it. It's unfortunate. But
Yeah.
the fact that Laura made it look easy, wasn't entirely reassuring, because that was a big event.
It was a big event, yes.
If the umbrella was doing something that we could piggyback on and help out and collaborate with, then I would consider doing it.
So what do other people think?
So are the libraries not doing anything for that? Don't they typically do?
They do it if
their
we
climate
do
week?
it.
Yeah.
They don't,
Well, I thought they did it regardless of whether we do it. I thought they,
No, they've never done one that we
Okay.
haven't been involved in. They would be a good partner.
They would be a good partner.
They are a good partner.
They are good.
And I
partners.
think I managed to leave them off my email, so.
What?
I didn't reach out to the library in my email, I should have done,
They'll,
but I
they'll,
didn't,
they'll sign up.
but. I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
I said, they'll sign up.
they'll sign up,
I'm
Right.
confident of that.
but I don't think they're in a position to,
They're gonna run it.
lead the
Right,
organization. of
right, they
it.
wouldn't lead it.
Right,
Right,
Yeah, Laura carried a heavy load and she made it look easy, both,
right.
yes,
so, I'm thinking might be too much for us. I'm also wondering if there might be any hangover from the Concord 250 celebrations. So,
Right,
they may be far enough apart in terms of time, they may be utterly disconnected in terms of subject matter. But I wonder if there might not be some, hangover in terms of public
yeah,
participation.
that's a good point. Maybe next year.
So maybe the fall,
or
but then
maybe
again,
before.
and we run into the point that you brought up, Brad, of you really want to do this when there's not competition or
yeah,
attendance.
There was a huge event, I don't know, 5 years ago at the high school. The composting companies came, there were small organic farmers showed up. I can't I only know,
Oh,
I was there as the White Pond
lands-
Advisory
the
Committee.
Landscaping fair,
Huh?
the landscaping.
No, it wasn't just landscaping. I
Was
mean,
it
we were
Cool
there as the
Concord
climate,
Fair?
was it, I don't know,
Yeah,
Climate
like
Action Committee
17th.
was there. There was a man there who had bees, was there to talk to people about, how to plant your lawn for bees. It was a real kludge of people. I don't know who ran it.
I think
I think it was-
you're talking about the
think Janet
sustainable
did.
climate action, sustainable landscaping fair,
Yeah.
which Julie.
Like 5 years ago in front of the high school, there was about
Yeah.
probably
Yes.
50
yeah.
people,
Yes, I mean, it was
or
around
tables
the-
there.
It was
Yeah.
around the courtyard
Huh.
outside yes,
So is this committee, but she
I
led
mean,
it.
I did take a lead and Julie Klein did a lot of work on it.
Yeah,
Okay,
But,
well, good. Now
pulled
I
in
know who did
people
it.
from all over.
Yeah,
to-
it was
to
huge.
come,
That's how I
and
found
they
out
did.
about Black Earth. That's how I got my
Right,
compost
Black Earth
company.
was there.
Yeah, and was
The,
a competitor.
yeah,
The company that has electric lawnmowers, that doesn't, electric lawn.
Ah, so that was yours,
landscaping for
okay.
we go
you, and
quiet.
People who, I don't know, I mean,
There was a lot, a very
probably-
diverse
I
group of
probably
people.
still have the list of people who came, if I can dig it out of my,
So
Okay, so that was just curious. So that was that. Okay.
yeah.
I love these fairs. But I don't, it's a big enough burden. I don't think we could get it together for May necessarily, because I think we'd have to start pretty soon. Unless someone says, we're doing a fair and we want you to be part of it.
Betsy has a hand up.
Bessie,
What if we morphed it into a bike festival in May? I don't know.
Festival.
Like
No?
because I know we did, well, there was the electric vehicle showcase that Laura brought her whole zoo of electric bikes to. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know. May might be, if it's an issue of conflicting with 250th stuff, May is a time to consider. And I don't know. It was just such an uplifting and fun event last year, but I
Yeah.
know it is a lot of work. So
Also,
Yeah,
another
I think we
advice,
have to think about that one.
Yeah.
There's not time to decide anything tonight.
Yeah.
do you think May is a better time for a bike fair than September?
Well, May has a bike week.
Or May has a bike week?
It does.
Well, there's another
Does it-
possibility, in September. This runs counter to what I just commented on. You don't want conflict with another event.
Yeah,
But if you did it on Ag Day and you focus the event around the library, you've got a ton of people who would just walk straight over for
For the climate
Interesting.
it.
fair.
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. I mean, my first reaction is, no, you don't want to compete with it, but that wouldn't actually be competing. Because the Ag Fair is right there. It's 1 block away.
Yeah,
Mhm.
let's not decide anything tonight, but I think that's a nice idea.
I'll double,
Um,
I like that idea a lot because I think it's complementary and I think you might actually get more people at both events if you stack them that way.
Right. Especially if we got a speaker.
Oh,
Let's
Interesting.
think about this, but maybe not decide tonight.
Whose toes
Right.
would we be stepping on if we were to
good
counter
question.
program or have a rump event?
I don't know. My first thought would be the Ag Committee. They might not want anyone competing for the feet. But on the other hand, it's non-competitive.
Right.
I would think they might reinforce each other.
It's hard to know,
It's hard to know.
yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
It's been a long day.
Yeah. So
So Brad, do
any
you have a
other
problem with doing
announcements?
this?
What?
Do you have a problem with,
I don't have a problem with it, I just, okay, so this is asking
we
a
could
question.
just, yeah, before we go.
I think, sign-up sheets work fine if you just ask people.
Well, she feels very strongly about it, so my question is, do we, there's a cost, so what Jan wants, rather than a sign-up sheet, people just tended to write their names in. And Linda, if you had this at your house, I don't know if you saw it, well, I don't know if that sign-up sheet went to you, probably not, just to, CMLP. But she wants more about on postcards and sort of, so therefore then people would actually sign up for how they want to engage with CMLP.
And
So
why
a postcard, which will be some additional cost. I think there's a benefit to it because
So-
you would at least know who showed up and who didn't if we know how many people are coming to the house.
Can I, so you, I wanna ask a question. Postcards doesn't mean putting a postcard in the mail, though.
No, these would, that you would hand out,
Yeah, just
well, it
index
would be an
cards.
index card, sorry.
Yeah,
index
they're
card.
index cards, cause
No,
that's what
sorry.
really
No,
threw.
no,
me,
no,
'cause,
no, sorry, index card.
if you had to mail it, that would be
No, no,
crazy.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
For people,
Uh,
it's to make sure, because a lot of people signed up and it wasn't clear, they couldn't read their email addresses. They weren't sure why they were really there,
Okay. I
but
don't
there's a
care.
cost associated with it, and she doesn't seem,
Yeah,
she seems unclear, so then who does it fall on? Eric again, I don't know. She said she paid for pens, but I don't think we need pens.
pens? Yeah.
That's what she offered.
I want you.
No, I think it's a good idea.
I'm good with whatever you decide. to.
Okay.
I
Can I
don't-
make a suggestion?
Okay, and Eric will pay for
What,
it.
Linda, did you, or somebody, I don't know.
Could I make a
Yeah.
suggestion?
Yeah.
Because we have the same problem. People will sign up and we can't read their handwriting, or something gets spilled on the paper and you can't read it. Just to have someone there with an iPad or their laptop and have a Google spreadsheet. Brad, I am also a huge fan of spreadsheets, and
Yeah.
just have them type it in and that person could just be typing it in as people come in.
But people come in fast on our events and it's hard to,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But they're there for an hour and a half and they can get them in that front or the end. And it's what, 15 to 30 people total?
yeah.
engage with them that way.
Okay, I like the idea. It saves,
Didn't you have an iPad or something
Well, I have an iPad. That's
yeah, I
the
have an
only
iPad
form of,
too. Do we have 4 iPads? Do you have an iPad?
No.
Okay. But if we just borrowed one iPad, do you have an iPad?
No.
No.
I have an
Uh,
iPad.
Okay,
Brad, I'm happy to lend my iPad.
Okay, I think we can manage with iPads or that, whatever you decide.
Talk with Jen and see, I mean, they gave us all this feedback. They're the ones who are gonna have to deal with this information. They're the ones who have to contact the people. Make
Yeah.
sure that they're engaging with them. So
So they-
I'm all for making it easier for them because that's the whole goal is to get them signed up with CMLP.
So,
Right,
I mean, if they're happy with handwritten email address, I think this is an easier way to go.
You think this is easier?
I
Piece of
think
paper.
so. And it's easier to hand it off to the CMLP. I think.
last year I typed them all in. They didn't type them all in. But it's,
Beforehand, Joe.
So you. so
Not
if
the,
you
not the
have-
ones, not the
if you-
check-in list of what you were interested in or
If
not
you have
interested in.
cards filled out, you hand them up to the
okay,
CMLP, right? So
I
you
think
don't-
it's a small detail
Okay,
because,
well, you just asked me, so I thought
Yeah.
I'd ask you now before I.
okay,
head
let's
off.
call it a day.
Yes, I think it's time to adjourn the meeting.
So before we take off, is there any interest at all about, getting some action against Trump's actions? I mean, we don't have time to discuss it now. But I think as a town, as a committee, we should be pushing back.
Right, now.
And so we're sort of the logical committee to do that. So we don't have to discuss it now, but maybe next meeting, if people are interested.
Well, there's a.
I know it's no, let's adjourn the committee and then talk about this. We should talk about it over a beer or something, but, what? I don't know who we're talking to.
Well, I think just the fact, talking about it and getting a statement out makes a difference. I mean, people like, Chris Murphy, the governor of Illinois, the governor of Maine, they're making noise, it's getting press, and it's sort of energizing people to push back.
Yeah,
If no one's, he's, there's no guardrails on him right now. And, it's, the climate is in a really dangerous state right now. He's dismantling, he's left the Paris Agreement, he's against EVs, he's drilling, he's doing
Right.
all the things we should not be doing.
And if you apply for a grant, you cannot have the word climate in that, that word cannot be mentioned. If
Right,
you're. if
plus
you're
all
on
the climate
application.
justice stuff,
It's just-
racism, it's just
no,
terrible.
It is terrible.
uh,
Well, there's going to be a
Mark has a
protest
suggestion.
demonstration on Wednesday at 4 PM at Monument Square.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah,
So, okay, so,
And there's a push to have everybody show up to the marathon because there's gonna be a lot of TV events there with signs up.
Okay.
Supporting the runners as well
oh,
as,
that's what you were suggesting about
Yeah.
the marathon.
no, there's a big push for that, yeah.
okay, so,
So what's happening on Wednesday this week?
There's a march at
It's Monument Square.
between 4 and
It's a,
5:30.
anti-Trump mass demonstration.
And who's
who's
organizing that?
organizing? Yeah.
Concord Indivisible,
Okay,
Concord who?
Indivisible.
Okay, so why don't we hear about
Do
that?
you have something more, Mark?
Oh, I was just
can-
gonna
Okay,
throw.
so it's 4 PM?
Mhm.
I can't do 4 PM.
So Mark wanted to.
Oh, I was just gonna say, slightly different slant that instead of saying what you're opposed to, you could certainly state that, the climate change is real, climate threat is real. We need to speak about it, we need to use these words, et cetera, make a positive
Yeah,
counter, statement of the truth. We endorse these, something like that. That's, I believe that's more appropriate and more powerful in a way, in the.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
and we can state, this is my personal belief, that we're not altering anything we're doing because of him. We have the same goals, we have the same actions, we will not be deterred.
yeah,
I think
And
That's kind of a statement I would like to see that we could make, and we are kind of in a lot of ways, I hadn't thought of it before until you mentioned it, but we're a natural route to do that.
well,
but it's not. It's
Not
not
the
a
only
matter
one.
of
It's not-
believing in climate change,
Yeah.
it's understanding climate change. It's not a belief system.
so and again, I guess in a way, we want to strengthen our representatives who represent us, Lori Trahan and senators. to keep up the good fight and remind them that we feel this way. Is that who the target audience is? Or,
I think I don't think they're the target audience, because I
No.
think they're on board already. It helps for them to see that they've got support,
right,
but I think it's the broader populace that needs to know that there are those,
right.
there
Groups that,
groups and individuals in the community who will not be deterred.
yeah,
So there's the broader populace of Concord that reads the bridge. That's what we're talking about?
I think broader than that, because I don't know. But I think if we lead, we'll get attention,
yeah.
some broader
Yeah.
attention,
Okay,
because we're leading. And actually, it just hits me. Concord 250,
I know.
Concord 250 is the right place.
we led the world then.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's lots of talk even for the marathon
If
things.
we
doing
could do
something
that, that'd
like
be great.
So,
Because that's when cameras from other, that, nobody cares about Massachusetts, the people who are doing these changes, right, or
Okay.
whatever. So when you have, when you have cameras on us for 250 or the marathon, that's when people outside our little
Yeah.
bubble are gonna see it, and that's when you make those comments
Okay.
or statements.
the 250 is it. Are you planning to do anything on the 250, Mark? About,
Nothing, not like that.
yeah, I sort of,
I'm
yeah,
also concerned about financing, for we're signing up for all these things and we're thinking all these things are gonna come through the state, but the state's getting funding from federal government on a lot of this stuff. And incentives for cars and all that sort of stuff, and it's all gonna be,
yeah,
I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, that's my concern.
well,
I mean, I know you have this fiscal year maybe, and it's,
right.
they won't do anything, but they are pulling back funds that have already been granted for things that have already been approved.
They're,
So,
They're trying to, that's.
They're
well, they
trying.
are, no, they have,
They
they
have.
have.
I know.
They have.
But they
Courts
got
have
most
already
things,
weighed
so
in on
It
it.
doesn't matter, but
Right.
the money's already pulled and these communities
Okay.
can't support, they've already bought into it, they've already put money, or they're not even putting in the money for grants because they have to put an X upfront because they can't guarantee it. So there's being people aren't even applying for this stuff
Okay.
anymore because it's not gonna happen.
I mean, if we had
Well,
signed
yeah.
editorial in the Concord Bridge from the committee,
Yeah,
can we do that?
yes, absolutely,
Yeah,
I mean, that would, writing editorial would force us to articulate this,
yes.
and it does sort of a first step.
Yeah.
And we could have yeah,
Should we
I
have a
like that
writing
idea.
contest? Who writes?
I'm out of it. We adjourned.
Yes,
Tomorrow
we
morning very
adjourned a
early.
few minutes ago.